I'm going to make some Zabaglione. You know, back in the very early 70s, I worked in a classy Italian restaurant downtown Wall Street area, and there was Zabaglione on the menu, and they sold it. Nowadays, you don't find it because it is not the healthiest dessert. It's egg yolks, good Marsala, not a cheap one, and sugar, whipped up together. As soon as it's thick and not lumpy, creamy smooth, you pour it into a wine glass, garnish it, and serve it warm. Or you could put it over berries, but that's how it was served. So we're going to make Zabaglione, and then I'm going to also add to this a Zabaglione sauce, which can be served room temperature. So you're getting the Zabaglione and the sauce, which I really like. For that, we're going to cool off the Zabaglione a little bit and add some cream to it. It'll be nice and smooth, runny. Then you can drizzle this over all kind of fruits, even over a piece of pound cake. The first thing to do is to separate the yolk. Just put I almost put the whites in there. We want the yolk in there. So I work these back and forth like so. And then you have to play with this a few times maybe, because I'm using 4 eggs, the egg yolks, of not extra large eggs, but I would say medium, but not small. So if you're using small eggs, you might have to add another yolk. And we're going to put the sugar in there, less than I would normally put, and whip it up with the egg yolk until it's smooth. Then I'll go about cooking it with the Marsala. And I'm going to taste it first, like everything else. Don't just follow a recipe and think that it's perfect. So you taste the item and you go, well, as far as my taste goes, maybe I need a little more or less of a certain item. So we don't want the white, so you just get rid of that. And now we have 4 yolks. The next step is to put in the sugar. And after I whisk it until it's smooth and ribbony looking, then we're going to put the Marsala wine in there and cook it. And I'll discuss a couple of ways of cooking it also, and the way that I prefer. So I'm just going to add the sugar. And I will do this for a few minutes until you see the color. It'll start to change color and get ribbony. So keep doing this for a few minutes. Now you don't have to do this by hand like I'm doing it. You can use an electric mixer. You see how thin it is? A wire, piano wire type. You can't use a heavy gauge whip for an item like this. So we're almost there. Notice the color change. It's smoother. So what I'm going to do, well, first we're using a dry Marsala. So the sugar that's going to be in here is going to be all the sweetener that we need. So what I do now is I taste this. If that tastes sweet enough, right now it's sweet. And I don't like overly sweetened items, so we're going to leave it like this. But like I say, you taste it the first time you make it. When it's done, if you like it more sweet or very sweet, then you would add more sugar at this point. This is taking about 5 minutes, but as you see, the egg now is nice and smooth. You don't see the sugar, it's dissolved. I'm going to add the Marsala and just taste it one more time. And then there's a couple of ways of cooking this. Now I'm going to add 1 more tablespoon of sugar, because the Marsala is dry. Now it's not sweet any longer. Now I'm going to keep on whipping this because I have to get this in there smooth. And that's about what most recipes have. for every egg yolk, it's a tablespoon of sugar. But just remember, don't buy a cheap bottle. Well, the liquor store only had a couple of brands of Marsala. It's a fairly large store, and the cheapest one was $5, and the one that I bought was $14. So, you know, and you're not going to be drinking that Marsala. You only use it for cooking, so it'll probably last you a couple of years. So in a minute, I'm going to start cooking this. So the method I use is directly into the water. To play it safe, it'll take a little bit longer, but you would do this not into the water, but in a bowl that'll fit above this, like this one, so the steam will slowly cook the yolk. But I don't do that. I cook it a little faster. As I'm cooking it, I remove it, put it back, and I remove it. The water was boiling, now it's on low. So we're going to do this right now. And just make sure it sits in there perfect, and it's touching the water. I have a towel with me ready, and as you're whipping this, make sure you get the sides, because that's where it'll cook first, up on the sides. And you don't want scrambled eggs. Now you can use an electric one, but for something like this, I think it's better to do it by hand. Now if you see it's cooking, remove it. Let's go slow. Then I'm going to put it into this glass, and you garnish it with maybe a mint leaf, a slice of strawberry, and you can tell when it's cooking. Because all of a sudden you'll have a little resistance with the whip, and vigorously do this. Don't go slow. It smells good. I like that Marsala. As soon as I feel it thickening a little, I'm sure the first few times you do something like this, just like if you were making hollandaise sauce, it's going to break on you. You will scramble the eggs. Notice it's coming up a little bit. The center there is thickening a little. So what we're going to do in about a second or two, we're going to do this gradually. I feel it thickening now. You can see it's not as watery and it's getting thick. But this is too saucy. This has to be thick. So what I'm going to do, I keep on saying what I'm going to do. I will lift it out maybe in another half a minute. Like right now it's getting thick, as you can see. So we'll remove it, whip it a little bit. It's cooling down a hair, but it's not stopping, and we'll put it back. Continue. This is served warm. So you would put this, you'd make a, I don't know, this is enough for, we'll see what goes in the glass. So you'd have to triple this if you had a few people over. And then if you had strawberries on a plate or blueberries, you'd make this and just pour it right over it while it's warm. We're not, pardon me, we're not scrambling, and it's thickening a little bit more. I raised the flame just a little bit. We are almost done. Now, if there was another egg yolk in there, this would be slightly thicker. So like I say, you have to play with it a few times. And this is not going to cook any more than what it is. So if I put another egg yolk into the recipe, this would be a little thicker. But to play it safe, which is always a good thing, I'm going to pour this into the glass, and then I'm going to show you what I would do if I was just making the Zabaglione to use as a room temperature sauce. This is good. Okay. So we'll take this, we'll pour it into the glass, and then you would serve it right from the glass. And people would just eat that. Now what I did over here, see how creamy that is? When that cools down, it'll be even thicker. Oh, very nice. So now, move over to here, and we put this have it in an ice bath to cool it down a little. Very fattening, but delicious. So, as you see, there's ice in there. So we cool this, and we'll add a little water to the ice. Then what you can do with this is made, and you put this in the refrigerator. After you add the cream, you have it for the next day or the day after to use as a sauce to put over fruit. Let's say you make a little fruit cocktail, you want to put some of this over it. With the cream in it, you see, it's very tasty. This will cool down, and then to this amount, you could either use half and half, heavy cream. So we're going to put 1/3 of a cup of half and half right in there. See the consistency of this. This will go over anything. Fruit, piece of plain cheesecake. Just put this right over it, and you have a nice Zabaglione sauce. Hope you enjoy. There's one more very cool thing you could do with that mix. It's gone. What did I do with it? I dumped it down the sink. I don't really need to eat this, but it was delicious. Take that mix and just pour it into your ice cream maker. Maybe put a few drops of flavoring, like a little vanilla extract, and you have a Marsala ice cream. It would work perfect.